chords of the song are just D, right? Then we got a C major and then a G major, right? So that's your basic, your 1 chord, your 4 chord, and your 5 chord, your 3 major chords in a key. So, and now if you don't know what that means, it doesn't matter. You don't have to know that for this part. But anyway, so getting back to it. So it's starting and ending on D. So it starts and ends on a D. And then it goes down to C, right? And then to a G. And then it goes back to a D. But then it starts again on D. Right? So in that, doing some pentatonic licks and stuff here, and then to figure out like what you want to tap over something like that, so I picked such a basic easy melody, is something like this that has 3 chords, D, C, and G, right? They're easy, right? So what the kind of method to the madness to figure this out, right, is to figure out the first chord. We got D, right? Okay, here's a D chord. Now we want to figure out what's the root, 3rd, and 5th of that chord, right? Well, D is the root, right? We know that. Then we got a F sharp for the 3rd, and then we know for the 5th we have an A, right? Because you can go, if you don't know this little trick right here, root, 3rd, 5th. The 5th fret on A, 4th fret on D, 7th fret on D. And that little, it's not even like it's like a dyad, and then you add this 5th here. It's your power chord. And then you just go back 3 frets on your ring finger here. Go 1, 2, 3, and that's the 3rd, major 3rd. Minor 3rd would be 1 more back. But so basically, I'm thinking of this in my head, right? I'm thinking D major, D F sharp A, then C, then G, then back to D at some point, and then it's gonna stay on D. And then I go back to this. Yeah, and now having these chords, knowing them ahead of time, is how you can really sound good over a track. Any guitar player that's thrown into a track that if you don't know the chords that are under it, it's going to be a hard time compared to if you do know what chords are under it. So that's one good thing. If you're not keeping track of it yet, I would start keeping track of what chords are being played over the solos you're playing. So when you get to writing your own stuff, it makes it a lot easier. So we got the chords. We got D, C, and G, right? And I do some like pentatonic stuff in the beginning. But say the first one of the first taps I do, which is like a pentatonic bass tap, right? Right, where I got the D note here, here's D, here's the minor 3rd of D, right, which is be F. Remember before we found F sharp, that's the major 3rd. So I'm using the minor 3rd, making it a D minor tap here for that first part, right? And then I kind of tap it around, and I'm really going around the pentatonic scale here, right, for that first part. But then after that, when you want, like, then I get into the regular tap where I'm going. Right, and now that right there, I'm finding a D, right? Here's another D. I do an octave thing from my D pentatonic, right? Find a D. And now I go up 1, 2, 3 frets, makes it a minor 3rd, right? So if I want a minor sound, I can do that. Or if I want a major sound, I can go up 4 frets. So for this one, since it's a D major chord, I did a D major tap over it. So I have the D I'm holding here. Then I have the F sharp I'm holding here. And then I'm tapping an A. So then you have all the ingredients of a D major, which would be D, F sharp, A, right? So it's not that, this shouldn't be too challenging. It's more for, you beginner, intermediate kind of guys trying to figure out how this thing works. So you got this, D, right? Then I'm going to major 3rd here, or you could just count 1, 2, 3, 4 frets up. And then tap in the 14th fret on G, all right? So it's on the G string, right? And then I'm just going back a step, so it's the same intervals between everything. So now I'm just playing the same thing, just back 2 frets, right? So that would be 5th fret, 9th fret, 12th fret, all on G. And then I'm going to go up a string. Because that's just, I'm just tapping the root, 3rd, and 5th. And you can't go wrong with that, especially if you have 3 major chords. Now, you can get more spicy with it if you want, like instead of tapping those 3, you can get into tapping like the 7th chords, and then where you would go in more depth into this. So instead of doing your G, you know, where you get your root, 3rd, 5th, you know, you could go to major, minor, 7th, and then back to root, and then get to, you know, doing 13th chords and whatever else you want. You could really spice it up and do some cool stuff with it, but this is just to get the basics down for it, right? So you want to know what chords you're going over, first of all. And at first it may be tricky keeping up with the chord changes, so I recommend doing something slow, like starting something that has just like, I don't know, like a major maybe, and then a G major, really slow, and then this, right, and put that on your looper, and then just try going over it with different taps in A, you know, and stuff. You know, try that out, and then you know, see when it goes to G, if you can get the tap in G, and then see if you can fit licks in between it too, you know. So if you were in like let's say we were in A major, right, we were going A, D major, E major, D major, A major, right? Now we're on the high E string, you know, A is right here, just like it is here. So right here, we can cheat right here. I got this nice Van Halen sounding tap. You can make it major, hit by hitting the 9th, and I'm tapping 12, 9, 5, or I go 5, 8, 12, make it minor. So if it was a minor sound I want over that A, I'll do 5, 8, 12. If I want a major sound, I'll go 5, 9, 12. Right? So you got the A, then we go down to a D, right? So I gotta figure out a D tap. Well, I got D, but I don't want to do it, you know, way down, you know, low on the strings here. You want to do it up higher, right? Make it look cool. So, you know, just find your octaves. Okay, there's a D. Well, there's a D, right? So, like from, if we started here, I'll just go up the string. Oh, here's a D, right? And now I can make, now I know D major is the next one. So I'll go, here's D, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's the next thing I'm tapping. That's an F sharp, right? And then after that, I got to find an A, which is the next thing in the formula, right? Root, 3rd, 5th, right? D's 5th is an A, the 3rd is an F sharp. So now if I'm starting on A major, right? Now I'm going to go to D major, slide up to D major, right? And that's it, right? Like, so here's your A major. So if the guy's playing, and then you go up to E, you can do the same one as D. You just go up a step. Oh, sorry, up a step. Right, and then just go right back into it, right? But that's how you pretty much tap over any major or any major chord anyway. Did all major chords with this. You can do minor, like I said, just by changing that minor 3rd down, and that'll make it minor. So if you had 3 minor chords in a row, or 2 or 1, or a major chord then a minor chord, you do the same thing. So if you had like a major and a minor, say you had A major and then we're going to B minor, right? You could start with that A major tap, and then when you go up to B minor, go B, from the B, just go up 3 frets, which would be a minor 3rd. So you'd be tapping 7, 10, and then 14. You can hear it has that minor-y sound to it. Versus if I had the major 3rd, it's a little brighter, happier, right? So if it was an A major to a B minor I wanted, I'm going A major tap, B minor tap, right? A major tap. This guitar ain't best for tapping on, really. All right, so I hope that helps you guys out, and yeah, you have fun with that. You know, make up your own kind of stuff, and you know, send it to me if you want. That'd be cool. I'll post it on the channel. Yeah, so rock on, guys. I hope you like this one, and hope it helps some of you guys out. Let me know in the comments.